Hello, and welcome to another video. Today, I thought we could tackle a task that I've been avoiding for a very long time, which is making updates to some of my EDH decks. I have a pile of cards here that I very much need to go through. And I've kind of just been adding to this over the last year and a half probably. And nothing here is necessarily set in stone, but it's things that I saw and thought might go into one of my decks. But I need to first go through and figure out which cards go where, and then make some decisions. So to get started, I've pulled out the commanders for each of the decks that these are likely to want to go into, so I can give a brief description and we'll have some context for some of the cards we need to make decisions for. So we have Damia, Sage of Stone. This is a Sultai deck, and it's kind of built around proliferate as a theme. So there are creatures in here that want +1/+1 counters or other types of counters, and then there's also a bit of infect. So I anticipate a lot of the cards that I pulled aside for this one are from Phyrexia, All Will Be One, and are for that infect theme. Next, we have Doran the Siege Tower, and this is an Abzan Treefolk deck. This is focused around things with large toughness and the Treefolk creature type. Adrix and Nev Twin Casters is a Simic deck with a creature token theme. So it is focused on creating creature tokens, as well as doubling or tripling the number of creature tokens that can be created. Progenitus is a 5-color Hydra deck. It is focused on creating Hydra creatures, which almost all have +1/+1 counters, and it's also concerned with increasing or doubling the number of +1/+1 counters that creatures can have. And then we have Arabo, Roar of the World, which is a Selesnya cat creature deck that also has a major equipment theme in it. So, I anticipate that the most difficult thing I'm going to face here is trying to figure out which deck a card is intended to go in. Because 3 of these have a very similar theme going on. The Hydras need a lot of +1/+1 counters. The Proliferate deck also needs a lot of counters. And then Adrix and Nev wants to create a lot of creature tokens, but some of those doubling effects potentially also impact counters that might create some confusion. And then these two share 2 colors, but I'm not too concerned about that. I think the tree folk deck and the cat deck are pretty distinct from each other, so no real concern there. But yeah, let's start going through the pile. So we've got a lot of cards to get through. Let's just get into it. So the first one's pretty easy. I know that I picked up a doubling season for Progenitus, specifically in the Hydra art because I wanted it to match. And I'm a little annoyed because I bought this like 6 months ago, before we knew we were getting 2 reprints of doubling season in a row. But it's here, and it's in the Hydra art, so that's what matters. However, this card is going to be a swap because there's already a doubling season in Progenitus. It's just not the right art. And I needed a doubling season actually to go in Adrix and Nev, so we're going to put this one in Progenitus and then pull out the other one for Adrix and Nev. So I have my Progenitus deck right here, and I'll just go through real quick and find that doubling season. So we just need to swap these, and it is still taped. All right, so 1 down. So these are all cards from Lord of the Rings that seemed thematic for the tree deck. I know that's why those are in here, so we'll put those with Doran. Jite is another easy one. I know that one is for the cat's deck. This is poison, so it is definitely for Damia. More poison. More poison. Proliferate is also for Damia. And more proliferate. Alright. This is actually the start of a new deck. that I haven't fully committed to, but I've been thinking about creating a mono black rats deck. And it's awesome that we are getting some new rats in Wilds of Eldraine. Maybe we'll even get some in Bloomburrow. So yeah, that's just something that I'm thinking about. The idea kind of came from way back when I started playing. One of the first standard decks that I ever played was Mono Black Devotion from the Return to Ravnica Theros standard. And I just absolutely loved getting to cast Packrat and copying Packrat and making every single card that you draw into another Packrat. So I kind of want to find a way to relive that experience, and we'll see if it pans out. But yeah, maybe that's something I will build in the future. So these are just some tokens, I'm guessing. Some Hydra tokens that I'm sure will go to use in Progenitus. And then a poison counter for Damia. I'm not sure why this is in here. I'm pretty sure that's Skithrix, who is in the Damia deck, but I don't know. Maybe if someone was gonna make a copy of him or something, I could give that to them. I don't know. Polukranos is definitely for Hydras, and that's what those tokens are for. Kahira is already in the Cats deck, but I think this is here just for a cosmetic upgrade, so I will replace that. Karumanix is the intended commander for the rat deck. That's a rat. Okay. So this one is ambiguous. It could go in Hydras, or it could go in Damia. I would guess that I intended this for Damia, because it is not a Hydra. Alright, and there is also another EDH deck that I have not committed to completing also. It was back when New Capenna was coming out. I was thinking about building a Jund Treasures deck. I'm a little bit worried that, again, it's a little too similar to some of the themes that I have going on, especially Twin Casters, because it is so token-centric, and every EDH deck that I build is green. So I don't know, but I think it could be fun to explore some big mana treasure stuff. So maybe it will see the light one day. Sure. I don't remember if I have anything that makes a Saproling, but it's in here. So Agnes is the general for the potential Jund Treasures deck. Thought that looked pretty fun. I don't remember why this is in here. It could only possibly go into Progenitus or Jund Treasures. I could see it going into Hydras because I know that This deck is very susceptible to tripping over small creatures. It really needs trample or evasion to be able to get through and deal damage to opponents. So maybe it was for the flying, but I don't know. It seems to be in the section where Jund Treasures was starting to get put together, so I'll put it there. But I don't even know if it would have a home in that deck. So our Jund Triome sure is black-red. Jund. Yeah. Urabrask the Hidden. What is he doing here? So he's just very hasty. Oh, yeah. So Agnes cares about haste, so that was also meant to be part of the deck. So not only treasure tokens, but also hasty creatures. Sure. I'm not sure what the ferocious cards were meant for. They could go in almost anything. This is definitely Hydra's. So is this? Yep. That is treasures. More treasure stuff. This I think is just meant to be a cosmetic upgrade. So we'll put that in Cats, which certainly already has a pair, but maybe make it look a bit nicer. Yep. I don't know if I already have a Vivid Grove in Damia. I'm gonna assume this was meant for treasures. Yeah. More boots. Yeah. Yeah, this is definitely a bunch of staple stuff that I put in pretty much everything. Yeah. Oh my god. This guy's really beat up. Looks kind of cool with the foiling though. Wow, this is a lot farther along than I actually ever realized. It's almost a fully formed deck here. Yeah. Ooh. We've got a whole sleeve of cards. Swords are definitely for cats. I think the soul ring and the heartbeat are probably just cosmetic. And then I think Azuri goes into Damia. Godsend would be cats. Ajani emblem. And Ajani is definitely for cats. Wait. He puts counters on things though, so he might actually be for Progenitus. See, this is why I'm struggling. I can't remember why I put this here. Vorinclex, I believe, is for Damia. Deep Glow Skate is also for Damia. Beastmaster Ascension, Damia. Winding Constrictor is Damia. Volrath. Armory of Aroas could go in cats or Damia, but I will put it here for now. That is cats. This one I wasn't 100% on, but I wanted to consider it for Dorian. Zaxara is definitely for Progenitus. These are just lands that I set aside for use because I really liked the way they looked. Oh yeah, this is for Progenitus. But I couldn't decide if I wanted to do the foil or the alternate art. So I have both. I think I'll go with this one. Jeweled Lotus is for Progenitus. I opened that in a draft last year. Really happy about that one. I don't know if I have anything that gives initiative, but doesn't hurt to keep that around. Lots of tokens. Oh yeah. I believe that I wanted that in Hydras. Wait, what is this? Oh. These are cards that I took out of Adrix and Nev, and I never put away. So I guess I need to do that. Alright. So I guess I will leave it here because this has been going on for quite a while. And I can already tell there are a lot of cards that need to go in my decks, and I find cutting cards from decks to be an excruciating process. So, yeah. finding room for all of this in a deck is gonna be a pretty tall ask for me right now. But if you are interested in seeing that process, then I can certainly make another video where I go through and actually do the deck updates. I really appreciate you sticking with me as I went through that giant pile of cards, which is now mostly organized, so that's nice. I'm glad to have found that this Jund deck is pretty well on its way to being built. Probably just need to find a bunch more creatures and tune it up a bit. And then we have the very, very beginning baby steps of a rat deck. So I will keep you updated if we find any good rats for this in Wilds of Eldraine. And then, yeah, I have my work cut out for me for getting these decks done. So we have a bunch of new equipment for cats. A couple of cards like the Kahira that are just a 1-to-1 swap out. Just a few things for Doran, so I don't anticipate that one being too painful. Adrix and Nev is going to be super easy. I already know that the doubling season is replacing a Panharmonicon that they have. Yeah, we already looked through Progenitus and we know it's going to be a lot. And then the Proliferate deck has quite a few as well. So yeah, these two are going to be quite a challenge, I anticipate. But yeah, if you would like to see a part 2 for this video where I actually go through the EDH decks with you and make those updates, then let me know down in the comments. And also let me know if you also keep a giant pile of cards that you're considering putting into your decks at some point. I really hope I'm not alone in doing that. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day.